Russia destroyed the Chernobyl Museum in Kyiv, and there's not enough analysis right now going around about why that makes sense as a part of their strategy and why it's the sort of thing that we're going to continue to see happening. They're going to continue to strike sites not only of cultural importance, but also of memory, particularly those which intersect with their own history of Soviet control. And the reason that this one is so important is because Chernobyl has increasingly become recognized within Ukrainian society as a preeminent example of how they suffered under Soviet control. And it's also an example of everything that they don't want to repeat in terms of control by Moscow, because that is who, inflicted this upon the Ukrainian people. Moscow was the one in control of every aspect of Chernobyl. They were the ones that chose the flawed reactor design, knowing its risks. They were the ones that used flammable building materials. And there's really no excuse or explanation for the way that they handled the accident and bungled the accident response, other than that they prioritized their regime's PR concerns essentially over human life, over the lives of Ukrainians, who died on a much wider scale and were made sick on a much wider scale than ever should have happened. So the entire thing is a blight on, one of many blights on the history of Moscow's territorial dominion. This also plays into memory politics on every level. And the point I think that everyone needs to take away from this is that this wasn't random. This is part of the erasure of a history that we should all keep alive. And so if you want to add something to your reading list for this week, if you want to add something to your watch list, I would recommend that you take a look at the history of Chernobyl and learn about why it was so much worse than it should have been and why it should never have happened in the first place.